Hi guys. The date is the 21st of February, 2026, and I just really wanted to make a video on some of my core values, or three of them, and the how I feel they're the trick to living a life worth living, and they're kind of like the roadmap to living a life worth living, and or maybe just enjoying life, or just living every day, kind of. But those values are awareness, acceptance, and presence, in that order. Because, hear me out. So it starts with awareness. You have to see things clearly, because you awareness is, how I put this. So we're in the dark, in a dark room, and awareness is our flashlight. And the more awareness we have, the brighter our flashlight is, kind of. So we want to notice our thoughts, not think about them, not overthink, but just notice them. We want to notice our ego. We want to notice what it's trying to protect us from, and stuff like that, and where it's coming up the most. We want to notice what is truly happening, externally and internally. We want to notice what is actually going on. Then it's not about seeing reality as it is, because we'll never see it, because reality is only our perception of reality, but it's seeing reality with less distortion, and not letting the things like, per se, ego get in the way of seeing reality how it is and having awareness. Like the quote, if you focus on the leaf, you fail to see the branch. If you focus on the branch, the tree, the forest. It's just about seeing the bigger picture. It's also about, then the next one is acceptance, which leads into accepting you'll never really see the bigger picture. It's just seeing as big a picture as you can. And acceptance isn't being passive. It's also not rationality. It's just simply saying, this is what is happening right now. So you're aware of it, and then next is accepting it, because acceptance removes the internal fight with reality. Because we always have an expectation, and then whenever reality changes something, there will always be a fight with reality, and acceptance just removes that fight. And why it must come after awareness is because if your awareness is distorted, then the acceptance can be delusional. So you want to, yeah. And then if you see clearly but don't accept, but don't have if you have the awareness but not the acceptance, then you stay stuck in a tension between, and you get stuck between self-rejection and how things actually are. And it's not a nice place to be. And a lot of my videos, you can see that I'm in that spot because I haven't found that acceptance, because I, for some reason, didn't think I was worthy of that acceptance, or other reasons. And you can't become your ideal self if you haven't accepted your current self. And that's one of the things you can see in my older videos I really struggle with. Yeah. And then after acceptance, so first is awareness, then acceptance, and then next is presence, which kind of comes from the first two. So presence is less something you do and more something that remains when you see clearly, and then you stop fighting reality. So you first have the awareness of seeing clearly, and then you just don't fight how things are, which is the acceptance. And when those two are in place, your mind can actually be present in the moment. You don't have to think about the future or reminisce on the past. You can just be in the moment, and I think that's the most important space to be in. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes. Kind of why presence is the last on this, why it goes awareness, acceptance, and then presence. If you try to force yourself to be present without the awareness, you're just spacing out. Like, it's not really, you're not really being present. You're just kind of being in a moment that you don't know is happening. And then if you try to force yourself to be present without accepting, the mind keeps focusing on the future and the past, on try to see where things went wrong because you can't accept it, or see how things are going to get better, or like, yeah. Presence is what the nervous system does when nothing is being resisted and nothing is being unconsciously avoided. Yeah, it becomes a real progress loop, and it's really interesting because awareness deepens, then acceptance becomes easier as you become more aware, and as acceptance deepens, you become present more, and it becomes more stable. You become more stably present, and as the presence stabilizes, your awareness gets even sharper. So the entry point is awareness, acceptance, then presence, and that is just a loop that goes around and around. An easy way to remember this is see clearly, allow fully, and rest naturally. So just keep this in your head. You want to see things how they are, allow them to be that way, accept them, and then be present, because that is what life, I feel like, is all about. If you're not going to be present, if you're always going to focus on the past and the future, you're never really going to live your life, are you? So I'm just thinking of what else I can add to this. And it's not fully that you think that reality is only a perception of how we view things. It's more, reality is independent. Things will happen because of other things. Reality is not, it's not just our perception, it's how things are happening. But our reality is filtered through our perception. So that's something you have to remember as well. Our awareness is basically about reducing the distortion in that filter. It's about lessening the gap between how we see things and how things really are. It's, yeah. And that, yeah, that's all I have in my notes. But just to summarize, 3 keys: be aware, awareness, then acceptance, and then presence. And I think you can see that I'm looking in a lot of the details in my other videos for answers, and I think those kind of sum up the conclusion that I've come to. And as I've started living my life more based on these values, life has become much better, especially in the view of, obviously I'm looking for some awareness because I'm making all these videos trying to grow my perspective on how reality is and my perception of it. So you can see that I'm looking for the awareness, and I talk so much. Like, if I look through some of my old videos here, 4 steps to accepting myself, the process of becoming whole again, there's so much I talk about acceptance, and just how I never really realized the trick to that was the acceptance. And I talked a lot about, I talked a lot about acceptance when I never really accepted myself. And then the last thing is presence. I thought thinking was the answer because I was thinking to make all these videos. I thought thinking was the answer to solving my problems, but they were just the thinking is very different than thoughts. Thoughts come to you. Thoughts are, I want to go to the beach. Thinking is you think about your thoughts. You think, oh, okay, so my thought was I want to go to the beach. Now let's think about that. It's, I don't have the time. It's too sunny. It's too cold, whatever. But I always thought the answer was to think about the thoughts instead of simply observe them and just being present. And yeah, you can see in a lot of the videos I made, like finding true confidence, understanding the difference between ego and self-worth, they all fit into subsections of the awareness, acceptance, and presence, all of them. And I think they're obviously still useful because they are what was able to build these values, but they're also really good in looking at how other people can build these values too. And I just kind of would have liked to have an understanding of these values maybe before I started looking at all those, because I could better communicate which value this fell under, and I could, but I understand it now, and it's made a big difference, and I just hope to share that with other people. Not that I found all the answers. I'm still obviously struggling with a lot of stuff, but I think I found the start of how I'm going to live my life in a way that I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I want to say that I can accept and be present in and just be not delusional, be aware. But I guess that's just kind of what it is. That's what these values represent. And yeah. But that's the end of the video. That's all I really wanted to talk about. I think I might put a more clickbaity title on this just because it's one of my better videos. But yeah, that's the end of the video.